Hi, everyone. So this is the first of a series on how we've made SemiBin faster in the latest version. But before I get to SemiBin, I want to discuss a little bit of my conceptual background and my philosophy when it comes to scientific code. And I think a lot of the field of bioinformatics and probably even adjacent fields often confuse code that has very different goals, and then people talk past each other. So I think generally in the lab, we produce three different types of code. So the first one, and this is our day-to-day thing, is we just do things that are just a one-off. We just want to look at stuff, and that's really what we do on a day-to-day basis. And then when we find something that's interesting, we often want to write it up for a paper where the paper is mostly focusing on our findings, and then we provide the code for reproducibility. And here I've called it also extended methods, in the sense that the methods sections, when it's written in English, often has all of this ambiguity, all of these details are omitted. And so by providing the code, we really do show exactly what we've done, and we allow ourselves to be inspected by others, documenting for ourselves also in the future to be able to do it again. But this is still code that's being done for supporting something else. And then finally, we also write tools for others to use. So just digging in a little bit more into what I mean by all of this. So, often code that we present, sometimes it's not even written down in a script. You just whip it off. It's rough and dirty. And the truth is, often it's wrong. And this is important, is that often there's mistakes. And just to show, for example, an example here, this is not an example of a mistake, actually. I think this is actually correct. But we've been working on the SemiBin manuscript, and we added soil samples. And I looked at some of the intermediate results, and I said, okay, I'll post this on Twitter real quick. And I didn't even really write the script. I copied and pasted some numbers from one shell to the other and generated the plot, and copied and pasted it onto Twitter. Perfectly valid, but I'm going to tell you that this is not the same code that's going to generate the figure that's in the paper. The figure in the paper is then this level 2 extended methods code, where now it is saved as a script. We've done some inspecting, so so both the first author, Xiaojun, and we've looked at the code. It looks good to us. We provided reviewers can see it. We've tested it, but informally. And so here, an example I often give is if this type of code does not work when there's spaces in file names, that's okay. I mean, the truth is, this code will probably be run a small number of times total for its lifetime. It will be run once or twice by us internally. Maybe one of the reviewers will run it. Maybe someone down the line, but this will be a very small number of individuals that will run the code, because once the paper is out, our hope is actually that the paper is correct and that people can look at it. But generally, the code is support. So here, just to give you another example. So this was a paper that was published very recently, and this is about the distribution of genes and how they are distributed. And we have made available a reproducible research package here. It has what I believe is the code for all of these analyses, that generates the figures, that generates all of the supplements, et cetera, et cetera. And if someone really wants to see, how was this, the supplemental figure that shows how things are by country, that they can go here and they can look into all of these files. However, here today and throughout this series, we'll be talking about code that's made as a tool. And then now, first of all, the point is that the code runs on other people's machines. And whereas in the previous case, we said, once the paper is out, the code is just support. Here, it's the opposite. Once the paper is out, that's just the beginning of the usage of that tool. I mean, we hope that the tool will be used by hundreds of other people, cited thousands of times. I mean, we're called this plan for success. I mean, unfortunately, not all packages are this successful, but some are, and we plan to be. And so this means, things, and I've talked a lot in other settings about providing good error messages, So even if the user makes a mistake, now we no longer just shrug and say, well, just be better. Instead, the tool should try to help and guide the user. And so this here is a rough estimate. I said, it takes about 5 to 10 times more effort to move up a level. So, so one-off code maybe takes a few minutes to write. And then once you want to polish it for a paper, now we're talking maybe a couple of hours. And when we're talking about the same code for others, there's all of these details that need to be in place for it to be robust, for the design to be understandable by users. Now we want to have automated testing. We want to make sure that dependencies are controlled, et cetera, et cetera. Now even small things really do take a lot more effort. And so here a tool that I've been using this series, this SemiBin. So in the next few videos, I'll show you, first of all, what it was like before and how we've improved it for version 0.5 to make it significantly faster. So see you then.